Alright, here I'm at one of the final stages, at least on the electrical side with this piston. Right here we have a little panel. That panel was also taken off of the same machine that the piston was taken off of. Let me flip this around. Have a start button, a reset button, a 3-position toggle switch, a digital readout, keypad, forward button, a reverse button, an e-stop, and a home origin button. The start button does exactly what it says. It'll start the machine up. The toggle switch, the 3-position toggle switch, if it's flipped in the up position, that'll make the counter count upwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the middle position, the counter won't count at all, and in the lower position, it'll count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The reset button will reset the counter, and it also, if the toggle switch is in the middle position, it'll reset the Arduino microprocessing board. The forward and reverse buttons, they're kind of like jog buttons. If you hold the button down, for the duration of you holding the button down, will make the piston go one way or another. And the origin button will push the sled back farthest away from the cutting position so you can load the piece of wood. I'll turn this on. Now it's all powered on. The sled is in the farthest position away from the cutting edge, or the cutting blade. So as you can see, the top origin light is all lit up. Let me flip this around. Right here is the end of the piston. I'll push the forward button, which would actually pull the sled slowly into the cutting position, or into the blade. And as you see right now, the top origin button is blinking. That's just stating that the sled is in an in-between state. If I actually wanted to, in that in-between state with the light blinking, if I wanted to try to start the mechanism, it won't do anything. Jog it in. You can jog it out. And then you can hit the origin button one time. And it puts itself right back into the home position. Right now, the counter button's in the middle. Hit cycle start. Counter doesn't do anything. In up position. There, we can hit the reset button to clear out the counter. Let's say you wanted to cut 25 pieces of a certain type of wood and you didn't want to pay attention to the counter counting up. You can use the keypad, key in 25. The pound button will enter it. Make sure the switch is in the down position, and it'll start counting down. Once, I'll do a little test right here. 0. If it's in the counting down position mode, and once it reaches 0, it'll blink just as a little, I don't know, kind of an experiment, more of a software mind little puzzle to get it to work. And now you're done right there. So you're keying in a number, 256, and you realize that you hit an extra key or you want to change it or whatnot. You can hit the D button for delete, and it'll delete a character at a time. And we'll just go with 2. Enter 2. Go to key in something else, and realize you just don't want to do it, period, and you want to go back to your whatever the old numbers were on there. You can hit the star button, and it'll exit right out of the menu. And that's pretty much about it. Jog it. Nothing. That's it. One thing with this extra panel, and all this is just a bunch of extra stuff, just kind of a project that had a snowball effect. But with this panel, everything was running on 24 volts, all the LEDs on it. Arduinos run on 5 or 12 volts. So is what I ended up doing is making up a bunch of small little relays. I can turn this off and I'll flip it over and show you. What has got it going on is the main 24 volt power supply is going into this voltage regulator. That powers 24 volt powers part of the legs here, and then it goes to the voltage regulator, and that drops down to 12. I think I have it set at just to power the Arduino, so I don't have multiple power sources on this. Each one of the relays will control one of the lights on there. I could pop some pictures of that. Also have the 110 relays over here, which is a 5 volt, I believe it's a 5 volt coil power on that. So the Arduino can trigger those coils, and then those relays in return can turn the valve on and off. That valve functions on 110. Last things that are left is to finish boxing everything up. Probably go with some sort of acrylic box, make a box for this to sit into. Eventually, when it all does get done, right now the emergency stop is not hooked up. That would power the whole system. I'll probably have the 110 run into that, and then have an outlet on the side of the box or something like that to plug into the 24 volt power supply, and kind of take it from there. Next stage, everything should be all bundled up and actually have it on the sled up and working.